Hi guys, in this week's lesson I'm gonna give you a new perspective on what kind of melodies you can pull out of a pentatonic scale. I've already made a few lessons on how you can use the pentatonic scale when you're playing over jazz harmony and chords with extensions and those kind of things. And the reason why it's nice to start with the pentatonic scale is of course that it's a scale that we already know, but at the same time it can also be very handy to look at it from another perspective and then actually really think about it as a harmonic device and look at what kind of arpeggios, what kind of triads, what kind of chords we can find in there and how we can put those to use when we're improvising to get some new melodic ideas instead of just the ones that we know from all the AC/DC solos and such that we learned. So in this lesson I'm going to look at it like that, and we're going to take a scale, in fact we're going to take the C minor pentatonic scale and just look a bit at what kind of triads we can pull out of that and how we can put those to use when we're making lines. So all the examples are using this scale. And I hope that you know the notes of a C minor pentatonic scale. That would be like C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C, and so on. Because that's what you need when you need to fish out the kind of structures that we're looking for in this lesson. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Basically, it's a 5-note scale. So if you're looking for a certain kind of chord or arpeggio in a scale like that, you can just go note for note and look if you can actually construct that kind of structure from that note. So the easy thing to do is, well, it's a C minor pentatonic scale, so let's look for a minor triad. Well, we need to have a minor third above it, so we have that from C. And not surprisingly, we can actually fit a C minor triad in there. But from E flat or from F we don't have any minor third, so we can't make a minor triad there. From G we actually do have that, but then we would need a fifth, and that would be a D, and that's not in the scale. So from there we can't do that. From B flat we don't have a minor third. So that way you can just quickly, if you have an overview of the scale, look at what kind of structures are in there. If you're looking for a certain structure, that's in there. I'm not going to really go into too much detail about how finding it like this, because it's basically writing down the notes and then looking at what's in there from a theoretical point of view with all the different chords and arpeggios that you already know. So now we have a C minor triad, and in the same way we could actually figure out that we have an E flat major triad. And of course, once you have a triad like this, you don't only have the triad, you have other structures too, because a triad is, I mean, we can play it in sequences, open triads, all stuff that I've covered in other lessons. So all these melodies are in there too, as soon as you find this. And especially the inversions are something that you need to check out a lot in this case. Because they're very useful. The next thing that you could look for is, since I made a lesson on the diatonic chords in the pentatonic scale, and a lot of those are in fact chordal harmony. And if you watched my last lesson about sus4 triads, you'll notice that they're actually connected. So in that way we can look for what kind of sus triads we can find in a pentatonic scale. And if we take the C minor pentatonic scale, well, we have a C sus, and we have an F sus, and we also have a B flat sus. So that's 3 triads. So by now, just by looking for triads, we already have 5 different triads that we can use when we're making lines. And if we try to combine those, we'll get some lines that doesn't sound like the normal kind of melodies, and give us more like a jazz kind of melody within just the pentatonic scale that we already know quite well. So let's try and do that. The examples in this lesson are using different progressions, so not just the same 2-5 all the time. I just want to vary it a bit. This first example is using the first 4 bars of the standard Night and Day. So that sounds like that, and the line sounds like this. So what's going on? So on the A flat major 7 I'm using C minor pentatonic, and the first part of that line is a C sus triad followed by an E flat major triad, played descending from the 5th, so it's an inversion. On the G7 altered I'm using D flat major or B flat minor pentatonic. So and the first thing I'm doing is playing an D flat major triad in this pattern, and then I'm playing a B flat minor triad, and I'm inserting this A flat before I'm resolving to the G and the C major. The second example is a 2-5 in the key of a 2-5-1 in the key of G. And it sounds like this. On the A minor, I'm just using A minor pentatonic, so the first thing is an A minor triad for the first 5 notes. Then I'm playing a D sus, and on the D7 altered, essentially it's the same idea as with the G7 altered in the previous example. So I'm using the F minor or A flat major pentatonic. So in this case, that's this position. And the first thing I do is actually playing an A flat major triad out of that scale, descending. And then I'm playing a B flat sus triad before I resolve it to my G major 7 on a D. The third example is 2-5-1 in the key of D major. So that sounds like this, and here's the line. And so on the E minor, basically E minor pentatonic. This is a G major triad, which is of course in there, followed by a D sus. And then on the A7 altered, I'm using E flat major or C minor pentatonic. So the first part is an F sus triad, followed by a C sus triad in inversion, before resolving to the E over the D major 7. As you can probably tell from the examples, some of the lines that we can make with these kind of structures, still just using the pentatonic scales but looking at them in another way, we can make some lines that have some bigger intervals and some unexpected turns compared to what you normally pull out of a pentatonic scale. So in that way I hope it's maybe a bridge towards emphasizing certain notes over certain chords, still just using stuff that you already know really well, and something that can help you do the same when you move over to really using melodic minor or major scales and the stuff to play over harmony, if you're not used to that. In any case, I hope that you can use the stuff that I gave you here. Of course, the idea is that you use it to make your own lines. Just take my lines as examples of what you can do with it if you start to mess around with putting different structures together and making melodies, and spend your time doing that. That's probably the best way to get further with this material. So I hope you like the lesson. If you like it, you can of course like it here on YouTube. You feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make a lesson every week, and if you have any comments or suggestions, then you can leave them here in the video, or you can connect with me on one of the social media networks where I'm on, so Twitter or Google Plus or Facebook or Instagram, and let me know there. It's always nice to hear what you guys think, and it's also very nice to hear what you guys want to hear lessons about. And I can't promise that I know anything about it, but maybe I can make a lesson about it or give some info. So yeah, thanks for watching, and until next week.